Good evening, Facebook world. Gonna talk a little bit on self-perfection through self-creation. All right, by now y'all have heard of the self-development industry, self-improvement, all that stuff. Positive thinking and all that. And why are the vast majority of people still unhappy, still not really changing? Because the self-development industry is designed to get people to just consume products. It's why any seminar you go to, they're on stage just selling you more things. Because they aren't actually selling you a solution, they're selling you just enough so you keep coming back for more. And that's a big problem because self development in itself doesn't mean anything. You're developing yourself. Okay, cool. So maybe you feel a little better, feel a little different, but at the end of the day, is that actually changing, for instance, your relationship with your wife or your husband? Or are you having less arguments? Or are you improving the amount of money you have coming in? Are you measurably impacting the lives of other people? And so self-development is actually just a way in which people put a blanket statement on, oh, I just want to feel good and not feel bad about myself. Now, let's talk about if you want to actually improve your life, what's a way to do that? This is where self-perfection comes in. So about a year ago, I met Asif and Kian, who are two brothers from Ontario, Canada. And we hit it off right away. We were at a business event, and I was just blown away by the level of conversation we were having. We became friends like instantly. It was so cool. And by the end of that weekend, I had been exposed to a lot of really cool material from them and just had a great time. And at the end, I will never forget it, I was in the lobby of the hotel in Denver, it was the Marriott, and Asif goes, yeah, man, I hope you're ready. Like, this is the self-development of self-development. Like, this is the, I think he said creme de la creme. He has his French accent that he can say it in. But he's really serious that, okay, there are people that are into self-improvement, self-development, and then there are people who really, really are dedicated to it. And this is that group. So he's like, I hope you're ready. I was like, yeah, okay, I've screwed around enough. I've read a lot of books, been to a lot of courses, things like that, and never felt satisfied in how that material that I was getting was actually playing out in a measurable way in my life to practically effect real change and allow me to not just experience more happiness, but less times of extreme doubt and confusion and self-pity and all that BS stuff that we all want to get through. That's self-perfection. And you get it through self-creation. So, okay. Y'all ever seen those images of, there's like a picture of someone walking around with a backpack full of rocks? It's supposed to be this analogy or image of how we go around through life. Like, okay, you got all the rocks in your bag and you got your past burdens and you're holding on to it and you got to just let it go. Well, there's definitely something to that. And I'll touch more on that in a moment. Now, okay. There's different decisions that we make. A lot of it is just unconscious, right? We like to think we have this free will and I have my conscious mind, I direct reality because I'm aware and I'm all enlightened and stuff. Well, so much of what's going on, the vast majority is actually unconscious and it's just automated behaviors going on, but it's like an iceberg really beneath the surface. Now, when we look at ourselves and how we conduct ourselves throughout the day, we like to think that we can just consciously decide, oh, I'm going to improve. I'm just going to make my life better. I'm going to, write some affirmations, write my goals out. I'm going to, cold call somebody or start this new business or whatever it is. And we like to think that we can just make that decision and then just change. But let me ask you, and be honest, you don't have to comment, but really look at that for yourself. How many times have you made a decision to want to change and it's going to be different this time. I'm going to really lose the weight or I'm going to, get big at the gym or whatever your goal is. And you made that decision, but then it never actually amounted to any real physical verifiable change. Where other people were like, yo, you've been going to the gym? Like, you look great. Or, hey, like, I can tell you carry yourself differently. Right? It's few and far between that you actually make those substantial changes. Why is that? why is it that a decision alone and just get amped up and you make that choice and you act differently for a few days, like, why is that alone not enough? Because, well, answer the question for yourself. Why do you think? And then I'll tell you the answer. It's because we're not actually taking what is self-perfection seriously. So self-perfection is a process, and I'm going to read it in a moment of what that actually means. But we have so much crap we're holding on to that we need to get rid of and actually look at and investigate and then let go of it and release ourselves from it. So then, now you're at a zero starting point. Because right now, a lot of us, we're like negative 50, negative 2,000. Because there's so much crap that's built up over our lives. And that's okay. It's about taking responsibility for it. Not blaming other people, just saying, okay, this is where I'm at. If I want my life to improve, I got to work through this. Now, we got to get to that point where we've released ourselves from the past. Now you can make a decision, and now you can, day by day, apply the change and actually correct yourself and change. So that's why one little decision isn't enough, is because you just have so much crap built up. And I have this too. I'm not sitting on some high pedestal saying, haha, I've totally worked through all my stuff. No, don't be delusional. Obviously, I don't think that. It's me bringing up that there are ways to actually work through that if you're tired of being sick and tired. Now, what are some of these practical tools? Well, easiest one is self-forgiveness. There's something called self-forgiveness. A lot of us were raised thinking that only God can forgive us, or only Jesus can forgive us, or Buddha, or some saint or guru, whatever you were raised believing, and you accepted that. Now, just let that go for a moment and just look at it from another angle. What if you had the power to forgive yourself? Because you do. You have the ability to forgive yourself. And now I'm sure we've had this too, where you spend hours or days pissed off about something. Like, oh, I should have just said that differently. Or, oh, the way that I acted there, I could have been better. And we almost look for someone outside of ourselves to forgive us, or perhaps you expect God to forgive you or something, or maybe in church or what. Like I was raised going to church, and at a certain point in the service, I think the pastor or someone says, hey, okay, you're forgiven because you did X, Y, or Z. Well, you don't have to do that. You can just forgive yourself through a specific sequence of words of doing this, which will actually release yourself from those different things they're holding on to. Different BS that you've accepted and allowed that's actually not serving you. Because is it really serving you to hold on to some grudge and some self-blame? Is that really empowering you? Are you a more pleasant person around your girlfriend or your kids or your husband or wife or whatever when you're trapped in your mind overthinking stuff? I doubt it. You're probably a better person when you're fully present. And you're just like there and enjoying and being here, not lost in your mind. Look at kids, for example. Kids are a great example of this, is they're just here. They're expressing themselves. And they're just having fun, like looking at a caterpillar or something, or just like jumping in rain puddles, or coloring with a crayon, or just, goofing around. That's because they haven't built up all that crap that I was talking about earlier in the video. So how do you get yourself, hey, didn't Jesus say this? Become like a child? If you can't become like a child, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven. Well, why was he saying that? Because unless you can let go of all that, this cloud that's around you, you're just going to be trapped in that mind. The mind and the ego, that's what I'm referring to, is where you're just like totally consumed by yourself. You're not here, you're not fun to be around, you're not pleasant, you're not actually doing anything except for just feeding this pity party going on within you. So you don't need to keep doing that. So I'm going to read to you the definition of self-perfection through self-creation. And I posted it here in the description. But we're going to read through this together because this is a big one. So pay attention. All right. This is the principle. So this is principle 3. I'm doing 13 days of sharing the principles that I live by. This is a big one. They're all very important ones. I suggest if you haven't seen the others, watch them. I'll put them on YouTube later. This is self-perfection through self-creation. You can write this one down. Self-perfection is the process of reflecting on and investigating myself through writing, releasing myself from the past through self-forgiveness, and changing myself through self-application and living change. So let's unpack that for a moment, because there's a lot here that can practically change your life starting now. Okay, so reflecting on and investigating yourself, right? We talked about that yesterday with self-honesty. So you got to be willing to look at the stuff that you don't want to look at. And you don't have to do it all at once, but let's start looking at the crap that we've allowed. If you're not happy with your job, okay, cool. Let's grab a piece of paper, write, this is why I hate my job. Okay, these are my other options, right? You can work through this stuff. So it's reflecting on and investigating myself now through writing. So if anyone here journals or keeps a diary or whatever, you just sometimes rant your thoughts. So writing is a way to start this. But now this is key. You can't just write. You can't just journal. I know a lot of people who just journal and they're not better off. This part, releasing myself from the past through self-forgiveness. It's a big one, because you can actually release that. You don't have to hold on to all the BS. And then this last part is, and changing myself through self-application and living change. Aha, bingo. That's what we've been missing for so long. So it's the self-forgiveness of saying, okay, and I make videos on this. It's in the Self-Perfected group. It's a very easy process. There's a course called DIP Lite. It's free. Honestly, that free course takes you some time to work through it, but you get a structured writing assignment emailed to you every day. You have a buddy to support you working through it, and it is eye-opening. Okay, I spent many years going to school studying psychology. I almost went on and got my doctorate in psychology. I'm grateful I didn't, because I didn't need to. DIP Lite, this free course, gave me more benefit than all the psychology courses combined. I spent a lot of money on the psychology courses. Okay, DIP Lite is the real deal, and that's where this stuff comes from. Self-forgiveness, self-perfection, self-application, living change, all that. So if you want more support on that, reach out to me. I can leave a link in the comments so how you can get access to DIP Lite. Think of it as you just got a computer, right? And your brain, your mind, your body, everything, that's a computer, right? But you're like, how do I use this thing? How do I get the most out of this? Right? You got one body. Let's make the most of it. DIP is the course, is like a computer manual. It says, hey, this is what a thought is. This is what an emotion is. This is where it comes from. This is what your subconscious mind is. This is why sometimes you feel like crap and you can't stop thinking about things. Right? This is why you have inner conversations in your mind and where it comes from and how to work through it. Do you see how that could be helpful? To actually work through that and then just have a silent and clear mind. Then you can actually use your mind for what it's designed for, which is thinking through and being effective and having critical thinking and reasoning skills. So then now, instead of just worrying about that conversation you have to have or something you did that you regret doing, now you can actually use your mind to say, you know what, I could start this project. Or I could, that's a conversation I should have with someone. Or, hey, I forgot just how much I love going on a bike ride. That's what our mind should really be used for. Our mind is a conflict generating thing that can run rampant. I'm sure y'all are well aware of that. I'm aware of it too. The racing thoughts, it doesn't need to be that way. It's a process to get there, but these are the tools. That's why I'm sharing these principles. So now we're into this part. So writing, like I said, DIP Lite helps with that. Releasing the past through self-forgiveness. We go into that in the Self-Perfected group. All free stuff. Just, you have to want it. We're not gonna, just share it so openly, but it's here for those who want to actually go to that next level and really understand yourself. Okay, and now in changing myself through self-application and living change. Wow, so what does that mean? Self-application. Well, looks like applying yourself. And living change, that looks like actually having to change yourself in your daily living. Because this is where the change is made real. You can say all day long, I'm going to be a grateful person. I'm going to be a grateful person. I'm going to be thankful. I'm going to appreciate things. But if you go through your life with still that look on your face of you're kind of disgusted with the world and you just go through your day and not even feeling any sense of gratitude or thankfulness, if you have to really effort to get it, well, you haven't actually applied yourself and lived the change. And if that's happening, that's a pretty good indicator that you have some self-forgiveness to do. That'll help you work through that point. So then gratitude, expressing appreciation, thankfulness, that just becomes a natural expression of who you are. So you don't have to think, oh, must be grateful for this. You know, in the self-development world, it's big. People are like, I got to set aside 15 minutes every morning to get into a state of gratitude. It's like, or you could just work through those points, and then gratitude just becomes expressed through who you are. And that's really cool. That's self-perfection through self-creation. It's a process because you have to write it out and work through it. But that will, that's an option for you if you think that could be helpful. So self-application and living change. So actually living the change. Yeah. And then you can have a group, like again, it's self-perfected. I keep plugging it because it's the bomb. Like you should really be part of it if you're into any sort of self-development. Any of the stuff that I'm talking about, go deep in there. Self-perfected is that you get to see other people living the change from around the world. We have people in Denmark, we have people in Turkey, we have people in Ghana, we have people all over the world. Australia, they tune in to our group and they share what they're working through. And people from all different walks of life explaining how they're actually living the change. And this isn't just like feel good, yeah, pat on the back, like, I'm so proud of you. It's like, no, when someone's saying some BS, we call them out on it. Respectfully, of course, but like, yo, you're thinking about this wrong. Thinking about it this way. And the amount of support and real growth that comes from that is phenomenal. Like, we have relationships that have developed from it, like intimate partnerships. We have parents restoring their relationships with their kids, couples that were on the verge of divorce now getting back together. Like, that's some cool stuff. We have people now finally making money, having success in their businesses. Like, it's all walks of life. That's self-perfection. Self-perfection isn't just feeling good in your emotions. It's actually perfecting your life, and that's reflected in your bank account and how you look at your kids and how your kids look at you and the level of conversation you have. It's really cool. So that's self-application and living change. Now this is the other part of the definition. These tools allow me to develop a deep intimacy with myself. Wow, self-intimacy. What a phrase. Someone once broke apart the phrase intimacy into me I see. And that was a pretty cool way of looking at it, because as much as we want to have intimacy with other people, or we might be scared of intimacy with other people, intimacy with yourself, think about that one. That will open up a lot. So these tools allow me to develop a deep intimacy with myself, enabling me to see the workings of who I am, how I came to be this way, and how to create myself to the best I can be. Dang. This is so loaded with life-giving material in words. Okay, words are powerful, especially when you really understand the definition of these words. So I'm going to read this one more time. These tools allow me, and yourself, if you use them, to develop a deep intimacy with myself, enabling me to see the workings of who I am and how I came to be this way. It's helpful. And how to create myself into the best possible expression of myself that I can be. Bingo, there's the C word, creation, right? Self-perfection through self-creation is, first you have to perfect yourself, look at all the faults, all the BS, reflect on it, work through it, release yourself from it, live that change. And then as you get in the process of doing that, as you have support doing that, and you're really actually changing, this is now your opportunity to begin to actually start creating yourself. You say, hey, I've always wanted to be the kind of person that can just spark up a conversation with a stranger. Awesome. You have to create that. You have to forgive yourself for all the reasons that you think it's bad to talk to strangers or whatever. I mean, use common sense. Don't go up to people at 2 a.m. in an alleyway. Like, use common sense. And you can absolutely create yourself into being that kind of person who talks to the strangers. But guess what? That means you're going to have to talk to strangers. You're going to have to face your fears. And all this stuff's going to come up, but you're going to be able to walk through it. And it helps. It's really essential to have a group of people that you're walking with doing this. And so whatever part of this resonates with you, if there's any bit of common sense in this that you see, reach out. Let's connect, because this is what I'm here for, to support people to realize these principles and then actually take them on as who you are as principled living. And then no amount of chaos, no amount of ups and downs, upheavals, collapsing of the world, Armageddon, Jesus comes on a cloud, Antichrist, Book of Revelations, no matter what happens in the world. Because 2020 is now a little more than halfway over. Who knows what's going to happen? You have principles. You can have principles. And you operate from those and you direct yourself from there. That's called your directive will. And that is unshakable. And then you can actually live as self-perfection, create yourself into whoever that you intend to be, so you can truly be the best expression of yourself. So I just posted this. Okay, cool. Olga says, jeez, I feel like I'm, I just have to post this. It's like destiniprocess.com, but destiny spelled DESTENI. And that is the course that I'm talking about. That will break through your understanding of psychology, how it works, and just do the course and commit to it. Actually see it through, and your life will radically change. I have countless people I can refer to you. I can refer you to who have been through it, and their life is drastically different in a way where they can just more so enjoy themselves. They feel genuinely happier just existing. And then from that state, you can actually create more in your life. So it's a process. People with it. And thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for the next principles. And we still have 11 to go. So thanks.